Hey everybody, I'm sitting down with Chip Lofton, and for you guys who don't know, he is the founder of Strutmasters, which is a really cool company because he solved a lot of problems for a lot of people with cars that have factory air ride. So Chip, what was the onus of Strutmasters? How did it come about?
Well, it's pretty simple. I took my kids on a vacation in 1999, and I had an '89 Lincoln Continental, which was 10 years old at the time.
Right.
But it was a great car. It was a nice car. It had all the bells and whistles you'd ever want in a car. A little ways down the road, my son in the back seat, I think he's about 10 at the time, and he says, Dad, the car's going down. I said, no, I think it's just adjusting. It'll be fine. He goes, no, Dad, it's going down. So we pulled in a service station, and I pulled out the owner's manual. I thought this is going to be a fuse. This is going to be a real simple fix. I'm going to put a fuse in here. We're going to get on our way. And I checked the fuse box against the instructions, and everything looked good. And I thought, well, maybe a wire's crimped or something. So I looked at all the wires, and there's some places where wires come through and they bend a whole lot. And
right.
And that could have been a problem, but I couldn't find a problem. I really kind of got angry, got back in the car, slammed the door, turned on the key, and the car came back up. So I said, well, it's all fixed now. We're just adjusting. So we're tanked up with gas now. We're going down the road. 10 miles later, my son in the back seat goes, Dad, the car's going down. I said, no, it can't be going down again. I just fixed it. He said, no, Dad, it's going down. And so I did the same process. I got out, checked everything I could check, got mad again, got back in the car, slammed the door, turned on the key, cranked the car up. The car came back up. And we did that every 10 miles all the way to Dollywood. That was for about 3.5 hours.
Oh my God.
So we get to Dollywood. I'm tired of getting mad and slamming the door and turning the key on. So I'm just riding around dragging. People are saying, what, you got 2 dead men in the trunk? You hauling moonshine? What you got going on there?
You should have told them 4. That's a big enough car for 4 dead bodies comfortably in the trunk. That's what you should have told them.
And so I thought, well, when I get back to home, I'm going to take it to the dealer and they're going to adjust it and we're going to be fine.
Right.
So I take it back to the dealer. And I brought it in, and they said, sir, that's going to be $3,500. We're going to replace all 4 and the compressor. And if he'd have said $3.5 million, the impact wouldn't have been any different. I still have the hurt in my heart right now from that $3,500 because I overpaid for the car when I bought it. It was worth $1,900 up. I paid $4,600 for it. I fixed a few things on it. If I'd have paid the $3,500, I had a $9,000, $1,900 car.
Oh my God.
So if I'd have had the money, it wouldn't have been a good investment. I didn't have the money. I looked around on the internet thinking somebody's figured this thing out. Spent 2 months trying to do that, never found anything. Decided, well, I'm gonna have to fix it. I've been around the farm and equipment and raced a little bit in my younger years, and I thought, well, it's just suspension. I'll build some regular suspension for it. So first suspension I built for it, I seemed like I had it, and my kids got in the back seat and it went down a little bit too much. So I had to come back and get some more spring rate to it. Finally hit something, I thought, well, I beat this thing, cost me about $400, you know, from the junkyard parts.
Right.
And welding a few holes in some struts and popping the oil all over myself. But you know, finally got something that worked, and I just did it to save the money. Some guy chased me around town and said, hey man, how about fixing my car? I said, well, you know, I'm really not a mechanic. I don't have a shop or anything. He said, man, I can't pay that $3,500. I remembered how that felt. So I said, well, okay, I'll do one more. That led to 10. 10 led to eBay. He went crazy on eBay. I did a website. He went crazy on the website, and the phone calls started coming in. Well, what about this kind of car? And what about that kind of car? It's like, well, wait a minute, I just had this one kind of car.
Right.
And so I'm thinking maybe I ought to get one of those other kind of cars and take a look at it because I get a lot of phone calls.
So how many cars do you do parts for then?
Well, you know,
because it's clear, I mean, you got an operation here. It's clearly not a small operation.
When we first got started, we obviously, because I had a Lincoln, we did a Lincoln, and then we did some Lincolns, and then we did all the Lincolns, and then the Cadillac people started screaming. And that was a tough one, to be honest with you, but we hung in there. They had a few times that I said, I'm going to give up on the Cadillac, but I didn't. And then when I got the Cadillac, then people said, what about the Mercedes? And then it just went from one thing to the other. We have 400 SKUs now.
No way.
Yes, sir, 400 SKUs.
That's impressive. And you've been around since 99.
99, that's 20, we had our 20th anniversary in January.
Man.
Yeah.
So then, so you said that you did some racing when you were growing up. And I know your son dabbled in racing. How did that piece come into play? Because I mean, come on, you went from struts to racing. That's a pretty weird jump, don't you think?
Yeah, back in the day when I was a kid, I liked hot rod stuff, and I read a lot of hot rod magazines. I built a Henry J with a J2 Oldsmobile motor in it when I was 16. Yep. Then I built a little when I went to college. I built an Austin Healey bug-eyed Sprite with a 327 in it. We happen to be building another one of those now.
I saw it.
Then I did a Corvette that was a 63 split window that was actually had been wrecked before and not properly repaired, and
right.
I took it in and bought it for $800, sold it for $2,800, thought I made some money, and I guess back then maybe that was a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Then I did a 41 Willis B-gas and raced it a little bit.
Yep.
And then I did a D-gas dragster, that's a little front engine dragster with Hilburns on it. And then the funny cars came out and they kind of got all the show money, and I kind of figured I couldn't hang with them.
Yeah.
So I kind of moved on. And then years later, when Strutmasters came along, my son was racing go-karts. It was kind of a family project.
That's the jump, okay.
I have to give credit to my wife because she jumped in there and found out who made the best motors and stuff and got him winning instead of crying. And he was 7 years old. When you don't win, you know you cry.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And so one thing led to another with that. And after a little career in high school football, I put him in a round track car that I was sponsoring just to see what he thought about it. And I told the guys he's going to make 2 laps and bring it in, or he's going to make 2 laps and put it to the floor. Well, we were racing for 8 years after that. So he won his championship in his first year here locally. I kept moving him up. He said, "Dad, you keep making me a rookie." I put yellow stripes on him every year because I wanted to keep moving him up.
Right.
So we moved him up and finally got him to ARCA and trucks. And he finished second at Talladega in 2012 in the ARCA series, and had some other good finishes, finished 6th in the series that year. And it was time to get married and raise a family, and we took him off the road and brought him home, and he helped me out here at Strutmasters, and now he has his own auto care center.
That's awesome. So you went back to drag racing, because now I notice there's a top fuel car, there's a few things now that are going straight lines. So you went from making left turns back to your real love.
Well,
because the bottom line is your love is straight line.
Yeah, my heart was always in the racing. I gave it up all those years. What happened was, and what got me back in it, was I got a call from a friend of mine who has been a consultant to me that lives in Las Vegas and went to a Las Vegas race when Clay Millican first came from the IHRA to the NHRA.
Yes,
and
yes,
Clay
I remember
Millican
that.
was a big-time, 6-time national champion in IHRA.
Right.
So the NHRA is a little bit more challenging, a little bit more competitive, but very similar. And he started with the team and needed some help. He needed a pull car and a truck to take their show car around for Parts Plus, was a big sponsor. And I got a call saying, could you help him out with those 2 vehicles? And I agreed to do that, and that kind of put us together at some racetracks. Mm-hmm. And the closer he got to me, of course, it was easy. I was still racing with my son, Matt, but in 2012, I was able to go back and kind of get back in it. So Clay moved on to another team, and they had a Toyota deal, so my deal went away. Then he moved on to another team, and they didn't have that kind of deal, and got the deal back.
Right.
That was kind of recently in the last couple of years. And just one thing led to another. The team was sold, and here I am again looking for where am I going with all this. And I thought, well, I think what I'm going to do is take my budget, and I'm going to help some small guys, because I was a small guy. I was always a small guy. And I always needed help, and I never got help. And, you know, sometimes just a tank of gas. When you hear some of these stories about some of these legends, a tank of gas was everything. I know for a fact that one of my guys that I sponsor had to wait till his check cleared from NHRA to leave the track to get fuel in his diesel truck to go across the country and go back home again. So I've helped some of those kind of people.
Right.
And some of them have stepped up a little, and I like that part of it.
Right.
I like to see them improve. I try to hook them up with good people like Lance Larson. I put with Lex June to kind of help his program move up the ladder. They had kind of some outdated parts and stuff. Mm-hmm. Now they're on a really good roll with some good parts. I expect good things this year, and hope to see them continue to advance. And so it's been really a thrill to be able to do some of that. And I did hook up with some winners. I have Bo Butner in the Pro Stock, Ricky Smith in the Pro Mod. Those guys are champions. This little kid, Justin Ashley, in the top fuel, his lights are like awesome. His team is awesome, and I suspect some Wiley's coming from that team this year.
Yeah.
They're getting together and getting everything figured out. And it's so close. All the classes now are within, when I raced, you know, you could be a half a second off.
Yeah.
And
still make it.
Still make it.
Yeah.
And now if you're half a thousandth off, or 10,000 sometimes, you're out.
Yeah.
And it's that competitive, it's that close, it's that technical.
The field is definitely tight now.
Yes, sir.
It's way tight. So I just love the fact that you're, like in the car building world, you would be a guy that enjoys the build because you're helping these people out to get them where they want to go, which I think is really neat, by the way, because it shows a lot about, to me, it shows a lot about your character, that you're willing to step up. A lot of people aren't willing to step up and help somebody like that, you know, to get them home because they got to wait for their check to clear from the major organization they're a part of. That's just really cool. But I like the fact that you have this company that helps people, because that's what Strutmasters does at the end of the day. Because I part-time teach, you know that, and one of my students needed to get his car fixed, and we did it. And the ease of installation, the ability to call somebody if you have a problem, that's what I really like, and I appreciate what you've done, because for you, customer service is important, and that's what I think is really good, more than anything else, because a lot of people you don't get that from nowadays. So I like that about you.
Yeah, I get so much satisfaction out of being here.
Mm-hmm.
This is my baby. I know every piece of it. Everybody that works here knows I can take their job and do their job. We continue to improve on everything that we do here. And everything that we do is made by us right here in the little town of Roxborough, North Carolina.
Yeah.
I think one of the greatest satisfactions that I get is to go home at night and look in the mirror and know that I saved Americans $300,000 to $400,000 that day in what it would have cost them to go to the OE shop and get this done.
Yeah.
And I can still feel the pain from that $3,500.
That's awesome. All right, well, there you have it. Strutmasters. It's a family-owned company, and they're saving people money. If you need to give them a call, give them a call. They're online. Lou Santiago, and we're going to do another interview in a few minutes, and it'll be something new and impressive.
And you'll love it.
And you'll love it.